So this is going to be a bit of an unusual vlog. Well, not that unusual, I suppose. But I'm just going to show you my process from beginning to end with doing my monthly theme. So I do a theme every month, and that is a theme that I have in my Patreon. And then at the end of the month, I release that theme to everybody else. So this month we are on All Cozy, but the month that I'm going to show you, because it's all finished, is Spooktober. So what happens, the general process is, before the beginning of the month I decide on a theme, and this time the one that I'm talking about is Spooktober. So what I did was I had a look on Pinterest, Google. I just looked up spooky things, and the first thing I do is look for a colour palette. So I browse. Pinterest is normally really good for colour palettes, actually. So I browse and look for one that I think is different from previous months, but that I could still utilise with these sort of ideas of illustrations that I'd like to do. I mean, there's no point in having an all green sort of palette when all the illustrations you're doing are going to be sunshine. So, you know, you have to kind of bear in mind the sort of illustrations that you want to draw. So I do that and pick my palette. Sometimes I put it to you guys to choose the palette. Sometimes I'm a bit torn between two palettes. It sort of varies. But for Spooktober, I was really unsure because I didn't really want to go the whole bright orange, bright purple, bright green. But I still wanted to have orange and purple and green. And lots of people do like the really vibrant colours. It's just that I don't particularly. But it's not about producing things for me. It's about producing things for you guys. So once I've chosen my colour palette, that is when I get drawing. The first thing I do is I start to create a mood board. So all the things that I associate with that sort of theme, and preferably the colours as well. So I create myself a mood board, and then I start drawing. My first aim is to draw just 2 illustrations so that I can put it on my theme post for Patreon and put it on my theme flyers for my parcels. So for Spooktober, I did the cauldron and the witch's hat, which you will see illustrating in a bit. I'm doing like a speed paint, you'll see that in a minute. Once I've done those 2 illustrations, and then I start creating the graphic, and then usually by the beginning of the month, all I have done is I've chosen my colour palette, my mood board, and done two, whichever fingers you want, illustrations. They're usually really rough, and quite often I redo them because I need them on a bigger scale. So that's how I start the month. Okay, so next up, what I need to do is I need to create 9 illustrations. So what I do is I create 9 individual pictures on 10 by 10 inch canvases. So I use a technique that I learned through Skillshare from Liz Kohler Brown. She did a tutorial on the illustration series, and that's how I sort of started, and I use her brushes, but now I just do it in my own style. So I don't do the same process that she does anymore, but very, very similar. And so I create my 9 illustrations, and then once I've created my 9 illustrations, I save each illustration with its coloured background, and then I save it without a background at all, and then I save it with a white outline around, because I need stickers from my illustrations, I need a pattern from my illustrations, and then I need the whole thing as a block of 9 for my series. And once I've saved each file in those 3 different ways, and then I can go on to do other things. So I import the ones with the white surround into my Cricut so that I can make stickers. I import the ones with outer background into Affinity Designer so I can do my pattern, And for the blocks, I keep them in Procreate, but I put them on a bigger canvas and make my 9 illustrations all together. It's a bit like playing Sudoku when I do the 9 illustrations together, because I don't want any colours next to each other. And then if I've got, like, say, 2 bubble hats, I don't want 2 together. I didn't have any duplicates really in Spooktober, but I didn't necessarily want an animal with an animal, or a small thing with a really small thing. You know, you kind of got to balance it out, and it takes a while to get things in the right positions. So that takes a little bit of a while, but you know, you'll see that in a minute. So next up is going into Affinity Designer and doing a pattern. I forgot to record that, I think, but I will show you the pattern now. So I do the basic pattern in Affinity Designer, but then I go into Procreate to do the background of the pattern. This is partly because Affinity Designer, I am not that good at Affinity Designer to do really random patterns, and Procreate has some very interesting brushes. It's very easy to import brushes, and I have made a lot of my own brushes that I put in. So I mean, this particular one, I used a brush called Sawgrass, which is in the latest Procreate update, and I used that as my background. But I will show you how I do my background for my pattern here. So we've got the top pattern, the background pattern, and then I put the 2 together. And then from here, I can send the file to either my wrapping paper company if I want to get it made up into wrapping paper. I don't do it with all sorts. I've only done it with Mayflowers, gift wrap for my mum's garden, and I've done the Christmas one already. Yeah, that's where everything goes to pot, because I've actually designed November and December already, because I wanted to get December's paper made up. Right, so back to Spooktober. So we've got the top pattern, the back pattern, the file's all complete, and now it's ready to send off to Spoonflower to get made into a fat quarter so that I can start selling it on Spoonflower, and then off to wrapping paper if I want wrapping paper. But the pattern is then ready for me to print on things as well. So I've now got my 9 grid illustration, I've got my pattern all sorted. Now what? Well, my patrons get a monthly art challenge. So I create a graphic with my mood board on and my colour palette that's been chosen, and I post that on my Patreon. Now, you know, I've kind of got to take part in my own challenge. So what I do is I create an illustration of a person, mainly. I'm very uncomfortable drawing people. I know I do portraits, but I have like a specific way that I draw portraits. But doing these little cute girls or cute women, I mean, it's just a different thing. So it's a good practice for me. Anyway, I create an exclusive illustration every month as well, using the colour scheme and the theme, and that is printed on items for my patrons, along with the pattern and the 9 illustration grid as well. So but that tends to be something that is more exclusive to patrons only. Okay, so once I've completed this pattern, I can send the file off to Spoonflower to get made into fabric. So the background here is the sawgrass, and then the illustrations are all the illustrations that I did for my block of 9 that were saved as individual things, and the pattern I created, you see it's a repeat pattern, I created it in Affinity Designer. When you're doing fabric, you need to bear in mind that the lines aren't always completely crisp, although it's only because of the fabric type, but they do look pretty good, I have to say. I think it's the type of fabric that I choose. It sort of makes it a bit lighter as well, but I'm really pleased with that. So I can also print this on polyester fabric, which makes it really bright and vibrant, but I like cotton as well, so I like to get a swatch. This is a fat quarter made up with spoon flat, and I'm happy to do a tutorial if anyone wants any help with that at a later date. So I've got all my illustrations done, so then I need to decide what I'm going to put them on. So my top tier, my $20 tier, which works out I think about £17 a month, they get 2 or 3 printed items. So for Spooktober we had a pin banner, I'll insert here. We had a small metal tin with a twist top lid that had wax melts in. I'll insert a picture here. And I'm not quite good enough to do the whole picture on the hand thing. Okay. And what else do they have? I want a badge. I always do a badge or a pin. So yeah, they all got a badge this month. They get a sticker sheet, which I will be putting on my website. And there was something else. Can't remember what, but I'll insert it here. Okay. So that's what my $20 tier patrons got. My $10 patrons, I didn't have any $10 tier patrons at that point. I do now, but when I was doing my Spooktober, I didn't have any, so I can't show you what they had. And then all my patrons from hedgehogs up, so not the Botastic buffaloes, but my hedgehogs, pandas, and bumblebees, they all got a custom-made notepad that is like this. So this is the illustration that I did just for my patrons. This is the pattern in the background. You can see it's a bit hard to see, I suppose. Oh, there's a hat in the corner, a bit bat, but I've done that as a surround. In fact, this is not completely white, it's sort of slightly translucent so that you can see the pattern underneath. And this is done on my bookbinding machine, which you may have seen me do actually in the past. So everybody got one of those except for my Botastic buffaloes. But they also, every month, I also do a free download, which is for everyone, which is a habit tracker. And I'll insert a picture here. So that also needs designing. And I have a rough template of the top, but then I alter the background and things like that to make it unique. So yeah, it's quite a lot of design actually, and I don't want to do it all just for patrons. I release the main range, so this range I will release to everybody. It'll be on my website soon, but there are exclusive ones that my patrons get that nobody else will get. So I like to keep things a little bit exclusive, but still open to everyone. So now I will pop in some footage of me packing all those goodies for my patrons and getting them ready to go. So I hope you enjoy it. And I have waffled quite a lot, so I'm going to stop now. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Any questions, give me a shout. See ya.